Good afternoon, traders and investors. Will back here with another one, coming to a Friday market recap. Hope all of you had a very good week of trading. And in today's markets, guys, well, we had a nice little bit of green in the markets after a favorable PCE inflation report came in early this morning. This also wraps up the monthly candle closes. This was the last trading day in August. So of course, in today's video, traditional to our fashion at the end of every month, we will take a look as well at the monthly candle closes and see how our indexes are shaping up for our longer term bulls and also how our big tech names are shaping up too. So in today's video, guys, we are going to take a look first at our PCE numbers, see whether or not inflation is still at a manageable level right now. Thereafter, go through our major technical analysis rundown of our major stock market indexes, and then take a look at our big tech names, of course. And lastly, have a quick little glimpse into my portfolio for the trades made this week and just wrapping up everything as a whole. See what I still have in terms of positions for the next week, which is a shorter week. And by the way, happy good start to the weekend for a long Labor Day weekend. Hope you all will be able to enjoy it. So let's get right into it, guys. So SPY up about 0.94%, QQ up 1.22%, and the rotation into value names also continues. So everything was pretty much up across the board here today. Let me just do a quick little refresh and you will see very bullish market. Amazon really coming alive in the last hour of the day. All in all, though, big tech performing well, semiconductors coming back from the little rut that they've had since NVIDIA's earnings, and the bottom half of the market performing very, very, very healthily as well. Financials and healthcare continue to outperform. On the one-day relative, guys, you will see that pretty much everything was in the green except for energy stocks. That's off the back of oil dropping about 3% today, so no surprise there. On the 1 week right now, you will see that most of everything is in the green. However, we do still have some red in communication services, technology, and consumer cyclical. These three items, guys, have been the ones that have been selling off the most in the past month's worth of time. And unfortunately, this week was kind of no different for them, right? Even though technology has had a good day today, they have been some of the underperformers for the week. And consumer cyclical, well, everybody knows, very tough for them to outperform, guys, when a lot of consumer-facing companies are reporting dwindling guidance for the next quarter, right? Diminishing sales, and also noticing that consumers are spending less and less money on discretionary items. This is not a new trend. This is now 2 quarters in a row and just goes in line with that soft landing recession potential scenario where we have a gradual slowing of the economy, gradual slowing of consumer spending. But so far, nothing is truly falling off a cliff. At least that's what the data tells us for now. So before we get into more technical analysis here, guys, let's jump right into our PCE numbers. And as a matter of fact, they were actually quite good. So take a look at the numbers that came in this morning here, guys. We were really expecting a 2.7% in terms of your price index. It came in at 2.6%. So at least prices are coming steadily down. And now in terms of the PCE inflation report as a whole year over year, we have 2.5%, or sorry, this was the core number, 2.6, excluding food and energy. And here we have the 2.5%. The expectation was 2.6 for your headline number on PCE. All in all, very decent. Personal income month over month, getting a little bit of a boost there. And personal spending, no change. So as of now, inflation is still largely in control. No red flags to speak of whatsoever. Take a look. This is your PCE inflation graph. And we can see that everything is at very relatively manageable levels, right? We're kind of diving down into the start of the inflation crisis into 2021. And now we are at very manageable levels, right? Slightly under 2.5. Just goes to show, guys, inflation is largely dissipated and is largely dead, in my opinion. I would be highly, highly surprised if we get a resurgence in inflation, guys, especially after going through these companies' earnings for the last 2 quarters in a row. People are just not spending money as they used to, not on small discretionary item things, and especially not on big ticket purchases such as homes and cars. So I'd be very, very, very surprised if inflation has a resurgence effect in the future. Now, in terms of your breakdown by components, as you can see right here for the PCE, goods as a whole, we have a flat month. So a no-flation month, not inflation, not deflation, pretty much no-flation at all, right? In terms of your different elements here, we do have services coming up about 0.2. And once again, as we've noted on the channel several times, your housing and utilities have really been the major contributor to this number, staying a little bit sticky, right? 0.4% month over month on housing and utilities. Annualized rate that is still under 5%, 4.8, right? At least it's not above 5% anymore on an annualized rate, but this is one of the stickier components of inflation and probably will be coming down. But as I've told you guys so far, the housing sector is very, very, very slow to respond to the economy. arguably it is last in line to move, right? So that being said, we'll keep a close eye on this, but for now, no red flags in inflation. Let's take a look at how this report impacted your rate cut odds for the month of September, right? So we were expecting, if data continued to come in more and more and more negative, then the Fed may have a little bit more pressure to accelerate the pace of the rate cuts. The big debate is whether or not they're going to do a 0.25% cut in September or a 0.5. The percentage for a single cut, just a cut in general, is 100% right now, but analysts are still on the sidelines, whether that's going to be a 50 or a 25. Right now, the market is pricing in for a 25 at 70% odds and about 31% for a 50 basis point cut. That changed ever so slightly, guys. We got some decent data this week, decent GDP revision numbers, decent jobs numbers as well, and now decent inflation numbers. So you can see over the past week, right, we have really kind of given back a lot of probabilities for a 0.5% cut in interest rates, and we're really now oriented towards that easy 0.25% interest rate decrease. So all in all, not too, nothing crazy with the inflation numbers today, but definitely a sign of moving in the right direction. So with that out of the way, let's jump right into our technical analysis right away, shall we? So in terms of the SPY, as you can see right here, we were noticing that, guys, we were in a very, very, very tight range at the all-time highs for all intents and purposes, right? And this chart is looking extremely bullish. And we obviously have been saying, right, watch the size of the bounce and then watch for the consolidation. And the consolidation has been at the top end of the range. This is the best case scenario, guys. This is the bulls conserving all of this momentum and not wanting to give back too much of those gains, right? It is much easier for the bulls to push to new all-time highs from this location onwards than it is if they were to give back too much of the gains, lose too much momentum. Then it becomes very, very, very hard to V-shape this to all-time highs, right? So this, in other words, is a heck of a nice bull flag. At the end of the day, it was closing very, very bullish, still not breaking above, however, so we'll keep a very close eye on this range. But I do have a very bullish bias for this range as a whole. Why? Well, because your long-term bulls are in full control, right? So let's take a look here at your monthly charts right now. Let me try to blow it up right here. So in terms of the monthlies, as you can see, you can probably barely see this tail because of my green boxes, right? So let me just extend my green boxes and you should be able to see this beautiful little tail that came all the way down on the monthly, tagged the 12 monthly EMA, and now we're back to all-time highs. So suffice to say, guys, beautiful monthly uptrend, your long-term bulls are in control. The weekly 100% engulfing move looking very good, even if the bulls cannot get it done and we fail these all-time highs attempts and potentially roll over for the daily downtrend. Just understand we have so much space on the weekly to gather a little bit more momentum if the bulls need to take a little bit of breather or if they get overrun by the bears. Tons of space to set up for the weekly higher lows into possibly more weekly all-time highs. The SPY is looking good, and a lot of that reason, guys, is because when QQQ was consolidating, we had some heavy lifting being done by financials bulls, by healthcare bulls, and especially by consumer defensive bulls alike. So very nice rotation across the markets, guys. I'm still of the opinion that technology and semiconductors may be slightly off the table now. I'm only playing a handful of names in technology right now, more specifically your Magnificent Six names, because I'm not including Tesla, the Magnificent Six ones that are at discounts from their all-time highs, more specifically the ones that I like the best, Amazon, Google, and Microsoft. Those will be the focus of my attention over the foreseeable future as tech remains in this slight little lull right now. Other than those trades, I'm going to be playing a lot more value-oriented trades as well, as you guys have noticed on the channel that I've been doing pretty much now for the past 3-4 weeks in a row, right? So the SPY looking very good. In terms of QQQ also having a decent day right here. As I've been saying, we've been trying to find a local bottom, right? Daily downtrend, of course, we knew that. What were we looking into, guys? We were looking for the weekly higher lows to try and be set and potentially make gains for a new weekly uptrend. So far, looking quite good, right? As you can see right here, daily downtrend is underway, and now the bulls are trying to make a little bit of a push right now. If we can get back above 480, that's going to create an engulfing move and allow the bulls, if they cannot get it done in one clean shot, at least make an attempt for the daily trend change back in 2 shots and potentially get us back into a new weekly uptrend. Playing good defense right here at the 12 EMA and also on the daily here, guys, reacting very nicely from our moving average area of confluence right here. So all in all, the QQQ is not looking too bad at all. I would not be surprised, guys, if this is a very likely scenario, that inverse head and shoulders that we've been monitoring here for the past 2 weeks on the channel. Moving into XLF as well, XLF so strong today, another 1% to the upside, but be very careful, guys. We are approaching slightly overbought conditions right now. A lot of this performance, I mean, the banks have been doing good, but the outperformers for the past week definitely have to be the credit cards, right? Visa really coming alive in the past 2 weeks of trading. MasterCard really coming alive as well in the last 2-3 weeks of trading. Those have been fantastic trades that I've both given to you on the channel. So hopefully you guys are up in decent profit territory right now for those of you who've been able to take those trades. In terms of the index as a whole, well, you guys obviously know that we are in a monster daily uptrend right now. And at this point, any single pullback just going to be looking for a daily higher low for possible further trend continuation. The bulls are in absolute full control right now. If we take a look at the weekly, guys, the weekly is also a full control on the weekly, looking excessively good. So even if we were to roll over this into possibly a daily downtrend, just looking for a weekly higher low for possible further trend continuation. The most recent area to retest would be prior all-time highs at around the 44 mark. In terms of the monthly chart, guys, the monthly is looking absolutely gorgeous. Tremendous close on the month this month. So no problems at all for financials right now. I still do expect them to outperform, especially leading into a rate cut cycle. Moving into healthcare right now, healthcare also performing excessively well here today, as we were kind of noticing as well, right? This was the same thing as the SPY. Very nice sideways tight range of accumulation, bull flag at the top of a move, looking extremely good for continuation. Why do we have continuation bias, guys? Well, because the long-term bulls were in full control. Monthly looking absolutely amazing, full bull control. Weekly looking absolutely amazing as well. Full bull control, new all-time highs in motion right now. So on the daily as well, that's why we're expecting a potential break to the upside, and we got it. Now at this point, any move lower can be looking for a higher low. Anything above this level right here, 155, which is in line with your 12 EMA, just looking for a higher low for possible further trend continuation. And even if we were to roll this over, guys, let's say financials and healthcare take a well-deserved break and QQQ starts rallying and making up that difference, well, even if we roll this over right now, guys, you should understand as well that we are in a beautiful weekly uptrend, just looking for a weekly higher low for possible further trend continuation. This is another sector that the more recession headlines we get, guys, the more money this sector will continue to get. It is known as one of the best defensive plays in the midst of recession headlines. Moving into SMH right now, SMH also not looking too bad. Same thing as the QQQ, right? We are trying to find a bottom to this daily downtrend. Today responding quite well. Below us is a nice area of support, 238 down to about 225. And on the weekly, guys, as well, we are not looking too bad. The bulls are trying to set up for that weekly trend change. We've been monitoring the size of this bounce for about 3-4 weeks in a row now. Decent size bounce, 618, and the bounce even took us above our area of support. So a likely scenario could be back testing this area of support, as they have been doing, to potentially manifest into a new weekly uptrend shift. So we will keep a very close eye on the price action over the next couple of weeks. One thing's for sure, if we get above 248, 250, let's call it, right? If we can make our way into this area right here, well, if they cannot get the entire V-shape done in one clean shot, they do have a two-step process attempt. So all in all, the SMH bulls are not looking too bad. The weekly's not looking too bad. And look at this monthly close. Complete recapture of the monthly drawdown right there. We were in jeopardy of losing the monthly uptrend, guys, but we put in equal lows, double bottom, did not lose the monthly uptrend right now, and now we're very close to the higher end of the level as well. So I wouldn't say that the bulls have lost complete control yet. They do still control the monthly. They do still have a good chance at recapturing the weekly and the daily as well. They do still have a very good chance of resetting this daily uptrend in motion. Now moving into IWM. So IWM up about 0.58%. Not too bad of a day for IWM. And IWM is trying to maintain a semblance of this daily uptrend right now. So we will keep a close eye on the break of 222.50 to the upside. We're coming into a batch of resistance as well around the 225 area, which is also the same area of resistance as 2020 and 2021, guys. It's going to be relatively tough for the Russell to break through that, in my opinion, but they are actually making decent progress towards that. So we will see what happens moving forward. In the event we are not able to break these highs and we were to crack Wednesday's lows, that would be a daily downtrend in motion, and we'd just be looking for a possible weekly higher low to possibly reset the weekly uptrend at a later date. Would like to see maybe a back test again of this 210, 208 area, just to maintain a little bit of structure before we make that attempt in the event we get rejected here in the near term future. All in all, not looking too bad. And on the monthly, guys, surprisingly, the monthly is actually still in the bulls' control. They did not lose the monthly uptrend whatsoever. So we could get a little bit more continuation here, guys. But just be mindful, right? I should have shown this chart at the beginning of the video. I apologize for that. September is known to be one of the worst months in terms of annual seasonality. Couple that with the fact that we do have some big data coming out here, right? We have the JOLTS jobs report. We also have the non-farm payrolls next week. So those two things next week is going to be a relatively big week. And the reason I brought this up while we're doing the, so you can see you have ISM services as well. We have the manufacturing report. This manufacturing report is what destroyed the markets roughly a month ago. So got to be careful with this. The reason I'm bringing up during IWM is because if any of these data points come in less than expected or unfavorable as a whole, well, growth is probably going to get hit the hardest. So be very, very careful right now with positioning in the IWM, especially in the face of potential further recession headlines. Moving into Dow Jones right now, the Dow Jones looking very good today, 0.55% to the upside. Beautiful daily uptrend in motion right now, almost pushing new all-time highs. So as soon as this move tops out here, guys, going to be looking for a daily higher low. Anything at that point above 40,800, looking for the daily higher low for possible further trend continuation. Now we are significantly above the all-time highs, so they could be able to use this as a backtest location for potential continuation of that rally. In terms of the weekly, guys, the weekly is looking gorgeous on the Dow Jones. Nothing bad to say about them. So in the event we were to lose this daily uptrend and go into consolidation, understand we are just looking for a weekly higher low for further trend continuation. The bulls full control of this chart. And the monthly, don't even need to say too much, guys. The chart speaks for itself. Gorgeous monthly uptrend. The bulls are still in absolute full control of all of these markets. Now, does that mean we have to YOLO and take call options at the all-time highs, guys? No, this is still a very uncertain market at this current time. You guys saw how fast we can move when we get negative news headlines, right? 3 days, 10% drops, right? 4 or 5 days, 5% drop. So be very, 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 very cautious about your positioning in this current time. It is not the time to be YOLOing call options, short dated call options at the top. It is not the time to be going all in on margin, guys. Stay conservative. That is the one piece of advice that's not really advice that I can give to each and every one of you if you want to protect your accounts. The last thing that we want is to get trapped at the all-time highs before a drawdown period of 1 month, 2 months, guys. It is not going to be a fun experience, and you will not have any buying power in the event we do have that drop. You would rather have full buying power or very close to it leading into that drop there, guys, because you're going to be able to make a lot more money, in my humble opinion, than longing the markets from here. So patience pays, guys, so keep that in mind. Now, moving into our big tech names, shall we? So taking a look at big tech, Apple not looking too bad, 0.34% to the downside. Apple pulling what the SPY is trying to do, right? Beautiful rally, consolidation at the top end of the rally, which gives the bulls the bulls are able to retain all of their momentum from this move by not sacrificing too much. And now we have the breakout, right? So looking for the continuation of this daily uptrend, back testing level perfectly today. Would not like to see a break under this level right here, 223.60, because then you just lose the entire daily uptrend and you run the risk of potentially setting up for the daily downtrend. As of now, though, the bulls do look good for some potential continuation. The resistance targets, of course, are the all-time highs. Looking into the weekly, guys, the weekly also looking fairly good. We have a very beautiful size move right now on Apple. Bottom to top, we're talking about an over 80%, almost closer to 85, 90% retracement of the move. So even if the bulls fail this area right here and have a downtrend retracement, just looking for a possible weekly higher low for a potential weekly trend recapture by the bulls. I'm looking to play Apple more specifically. If we come down 219 to 215, I'll probably be looking to play some short options here. Short puts, so selling puts pretty much down in the roughly 210 or better area. Right now, guys, I can't really touch it. The valuation is just a little bit too rich for me in light of their kind of weak revenue growth. Still a good company, but I've said this now for about 3 weeks in a row. Apple for me right now is a hold. It's not a buy, it's not a sell, it's just a hold, right? So moving on to the monthly, guys. Monthly looking absolutely amazing. Beautiful monthly uptrend right now. In the event Apple does have a little bit of a topping situation coming in soon, still just going to be looking for a monthly higher low in the event we consolidate through the month of September, right? So any consolidation for all of these markets and most of your individual names is just going to be for monthly higher low levels for continuation of those uptrends. Moving into AMD right now. So AMD not looking too bad, 2.28% to the upside, and trying to do the same thing as the rest of semiconductors, right? So daily downtrend is clearly underway, and now we are on the monitor. We are watching for the size of the bounce, right? Need to watch the size of the bounce in relation to 157.65. As of now, the bounce is not extremely good, but looking like a good start. We are trying to recapture the hourly uptrend. It is not quite done just yet, still $1 away from that, and trying to get above these hourly moving averages that we've been under for some significant time, right? At least about a week of trading right now. So if we can get this hourly uptrend in motion, you guys should understand your daily bounce is underway. And then we're going to try, at least try, guys, to get back up into this level of resistance, which is pretty much 154 up to about 168. The reason that I like this chart here, guys, is we are trying to find a weekly higher low, right? So we know that we had a decent little rally, about 50%, 55% worth of rally, right? It does set the bulls up nicely to be able to set a weekly higher low and maybe make a second attempt at this resistance level. Next week, though, if we have further slides, I will be looking to play some AMD short puts, potentially in the lower 130s, think 135 and below that. I would love to be assigned some AMD down here in the event we revisit those levels. If not, we're just going to be able to collect some very juicy premium at these levels. But AMD as a whole, guys, it is not looking bad. Admittedly, is actually looking quite good if we can really start curling, confirm this hourly trend change, and get a little bit more momentum into next Tuesday's session. Now, moving into Amazon. I didn't do the monthly chart on AMD. My bad for that. The monthly, guys, AMD is one of our names that we cover that is one of the only names that is currently in a monthly downtrend. However, just keep a special eye on this location right here. That is your 140 down to about 125-ish. That is a very nice area for some support for this market. So AMD, we're still potentially looking for a monthly push over the next couple of months, because just I want to remind you, all of AMD's future growth, guys, is coming in the next 2 to 3 quarters. You can see massive EPS growth is coming as early as Q1 of 2025, and that revenue growth as well as they scale their data center endeavors. So even though we are in a bit of a monthly downtrend here, guys, I wouldn't say it's the end of the world. I do think there's good value on AMD down here, which is why I will continue to play it in that level. Now, moving on to Amazon, give me a very brief second. Amazon really coming alive here, 3.71%, and most of that, guys, was in the last hour and a half of trading. Looking excessively good as a whole on Amazon here, guys. Hourly uptrend is recaptured clear as day, and also the daily, guys. The daily, we were always looking for our daily higher lows for possible further trend continuation by the bulls. So all is looking very good. We will need a break of 181.60 to confirm that this daily uptrend is indeed in motion before possibly attacking our higher level of resistance around the 190s. On the weekly, guys, the weekly is also looking quite bullish, right? Looking for the weekly higher lows for possible further trend continuation. Now, I will go out on a limb here, guys. It's not confirmed yet. We need a break of 181.60 to confirm this, but it is really looking likely that the weekly higher lows are set and that the next move by the bulls is going to try to push us into a new weekly uptrend, looking very good. As I said, resistance up here at 190. In the event we fail and potentially roll over again, I will once again be looking for short puts on Amazon in the mid 160 levels, looking very good. And depending on the price action on the Tuesday afternoon, I may be even tempted here, guys, to go for some shorter term call options with some call debit spreads to get that second weekly leg higher into that 190 area. Since it's going to be call debit spreads, we won't be risking too much. We're going to put some time on them, but I do want to play Amazon for this eventual potential trend recapture, right? Company is looking very, very solid. On to the monthly, guys. The monthly, even though we lost our monthly higher lows, we never set a monthly downtrend, lower highs and lower lows. So I still do maintain here, guys, right? We are still in a very beautiful monthly uptrend. It doesn't look pretty, but it is still a monthly uptrend here, guys. We lost the lows, never closed the candle below there at all, which is why I say the monthly uptrends are maintained right now. And where did we reject this whole area, guys? The bears tried to get through all of that 2 years worth of prior all-time highs. They could not get it done and close below. Amazon just is too strong right now. The fundamentals are too good and the pricing is too good as well, which is why most likely a lot of the dip buyers down here were large institutions because they know this. So I really like Amazon at the current levels. Moving into Google right now. Google, I think, guys, is next up. Google has been one that has kind of been left behind in this whole rally. You can argue AMD as well, but when we're talking about Mag 6 names, right? Netflix is close to the all-time highs right now. Meta is close to the all-time highs. Apple is close to the all-time highs. The only ones that are not are Amazon, Google, and Microsoft. Those will be my key focus over the next foreseeable future. Now, moving into our Google names. So in terms of Google, guys, daily downtrend is still confirmed. We are looking for the daily downtrend bottom because what are we trying to do? Trying to reset into a weekly uptrend right here. Granted, the size of the bounce of this move was not the best, but they do still have a chance, especially if the rest of the markets are responding well to data points. I think it's just a matter of time that Google goes from a lagging name to one that really starts catching up to the levels quickly. So keep a close eye on this, guys. Trying to get the hourly trend change in motion. We just got it in the last hour of the day. So since we have our hourly trend back to the bulls at this point, guys, it is very possible that our daily higher lows are now set at this point, and we may just be looking to possibly engulf this move. I will be looking to play Google very much next week in terms of possibly writing some short puts in the lower 160 level. And in the event that we don't get down there, guys, well, at the same time, rather, not in the event, I will probably be going for some call debit spreads, possibly targeting some strikes at maybe the 170, 175 with a little bit of time on them. Google is looking very good on the weekly, not looking too bad, trying to set up for the weekly trend change. As I was saying, the size of the bounce was not that impressive, but if the rest of the markets are bullish, I would be very surprised if Google is going to be a name left behind, especially at such a very healthy valuation right now. And in terms of the monthly as well, guys, monthly is looking very, very, very gorgeous. Beautiful monthly uptrend, monthly higher lows most likely are set. And if they are not, if we come down in September, we have a gorgeous area of support down here, 155 down to about 144 prior all-time highs. We would still just be looking for that monthly higher low for possible further trend continuation. Bulls in full control. Moving on to Meta right now. Meta not looking too bad, 0.6%. And we obviously know what the problem with Meta has been, right? Too many rejections currently at the all-time highs. The bulls are really struggling with this level right there, right? But they're not giving back too much. They're still trying to stay within the confines of this big resistance area, trying to keep the momentum alive from this massive move, not trying to give back too much. Although we understand it is currently a daily downtrend right now, and that we might just be expecting lower high into lower lows, there is also a distinct probability, guys, that the bulls are just trying to make a nice little cup and handle at the all-time highs. The weekly timeframes always matter more than the dailies, right, guys? Even if we were to pull back to about 505, the weekly 12 EMA right there, it would still just be looking up for a cup and handle pattern or a weekly bull flag, call it what you will, for potential further trend continuation. Meta is looking very, very hot right now. And on the monthly is also looking equally as good. Beautiful monthly uptrend simply continues for this stock. Valuation, amazing, both on a PEG ratio basis and a free cash flow yield basis. I see no problem, guys, with holding this stock and even buying a little bit more for a long-term portfolio. Such a fantastic company. Moving on to Microsoft right now. Microsoft up about 0.97%. And Microsoft as well. You guys can see a lot of these chart patterns are the same, right? Google, Amazon, and Microsoft. They're lagging behind. Amazon now pulling ahead. Maybe just a question of time for Google to also have a 3% candle and Microsoft to have a 3% candle as well. They tried it yesterday, got rejected, and now they're making a second attempt at it, looking quite good. Daily uptrend on Microsoft, of course. We were looking for the daily uptrend right there, loss of the daily uptrend, and now we're probably trying to get it back, right? This whole daily consolidation and loss of this initial daily uptrend right there, all of that was just for weekly higher lows, right? Nice little bounce. The bounce was only about 50%, not the best bounce, admittedly, before we ran into big resistance up here, 436 to about 425, but trying to set up for some weekly higher lows for possible further weekly trend expansion into the future, right? Keep a close eye on Microsoft. I may also be eyeing this one for some call debit spreads, trying to target that second leg into our resistance area, and maybe even looking for some possible put credit spreads for the foreseeable future for maybe the next week or 2 weeks down in this lower range right here, where we have massive bulls sitting from the entire year. Now, in terms of the monthly is also looking quite decent on Microsoft. Still a monthly uptrend right now. Double bottom pretty much. No lower lows, so they did not lose the monthly uptrend despite the Bears' best efforts still conserving the monthly uptrend. I see no red flags right here. Moving on to Netflix right now. Netflix 701, getting very close to the all-time highs. And this was another case similar to the SPY and Apple, right? you guys can see how powerful these consolidations at the high end of a monster move is, right? The bulls retaining all of their momentum. The bears not able to get anything done. Where are we also consolidating? We're consolidating above the top end range of our previous all-time high attempt and even our previous all-time high candles right here. We are barely above them, but we are still above them, right? So it's looking very good for some possible daily trend expansion if we break these highs 707 into the Tuesday session. Now, in the event we were to lose this area right here, guys, no problem at all. The bulls have tons of space. Just would be looking for a weekly higher low for possible further trend continuation. That would probably be a setup for a bull flag or cup and handle as well for potential continuation of the momentum. And on the monthly, guys, no problem at all for Netflix, right? Huge monthly uptrend right now. Higher lows are set with the lows of this month. Just looking to expand this into further all-time highs. The business is working on all cylinders. I've said it once. I'll say it many times, guys. Netflix is one in their own in this lane right now in the quote-unquote streaming business, right? I do not think Disney has any chance of catching up. We won't even talk about Paramount as a whole. Apple and Amazon, I mean, Apple just doesn't have the same exposure as Netflix does, and nor does Amazon, even with their large customer bases for Amazon Prime and Apple's substantial amount of users on its devices. They are still not getting the amount of views that Netflix does. So Netflix is largely your industry winner. I would not be surprised if these just run away with it over the foreseeable future. Moving on to NVIDIA right now. NVIDIA also not looking too bad, trying to recover ever so slightly after its earnings little mishap right there. So we obviously know right now daily downtrend is underway, reacting nicely from the zone of support, 119 down about 115. No problem at all. We will see how this one evolves. There is still on the table right now this situation for a possible inverse head and shoulders as a whole. Not looking too bad, right? I'll keep an eye on this one. If ever we break this support level right there, guys, just understand that we're just still looking for a possible weekly higher low. Gorgeous, almost engulfing move. Tons of space for the bulls to reset a little bit lower. And in the event we do reset lower and come down maybe 112, 110, I'll probably be playing some short puts around the 195 level, depending on the premium down there. All in all, though, guys, NVIDIA may just be looking for some extended consolidation, especially if semiconductors stay out of favor right now. You know, it's anybody's guess as to whether or not or when semiconductors will be back in favor for the market. My best guess, guys, is these were your lead bulls for a very, very long time. Now value is taking over. It doesn't mean that these are necessarily going to drop off a cliff, but they may just consolidate sideways for a while, similar to what we had back here. And that would not be a bad thing for the stock, right? Moving on to the monthly too, before we move into Tesla. The monthly, not looking bad at all, right? Still a very, very healthy monthly uptrend. Monthly higher lows are set pretty much at the lows of the month of August, around 90.5. Still a beautiful monthly uptrend. Even if we were to consolidate on the monthly, still right there, no shot of losing the monthly uptrend so far, guys. The lows are all the way down there. Now let's move into Tesla. So Tesla also looking quite good on the daily, 3.8%. And this one too really came alive, guys, in the last, let's call it last hour and a half of the day, right? So looking pretty good on Tesla as a whole. I'll remind you what was the case. We had a nice daily move higher, daily uptrend. Then unfortunately, we lost it with a daily downtrend. The daily downtrend was just a byproduct of looking for weekly higher lows for a possible second attempt at your higher 240, 250 level, right? So we'll see what happens. As of now, we are still kind of trapped in this tightening range. If we do get a break here, guys, of 228.64, that would be a confirmed new weekly uptrend within the context of this lost momentum move, right? So my best opinion for Tesla, guys, at least over the next maybe 1 to 2 months, may just be, even if we do get this move in motion, guys, I still do think we might just be range bound between roughly $250 and $200. There's not that many upcoming catalysts on Tesla in the future, but Tesla could just be a case, once again, if you see it rallying, it may not be on company specifics. It may just be a question of rising tides lifts all ships in the market, right? In terms of the monthly, well, the monthly is not looking too bad on Tesla. We know we were in a monthly downtrend, trying to make an attempt here at setting up for the monthly higher low and monthly higher highs. We would only get a confirmed monthly uptrend at this point, guys, if we break and close a monthly above 269. And that is still a long ways away for Tesla. So not looking too bad, but once again, I want to play Tesla. I really do want to play Tesla, but I need to get better prices. They need to come down closer to here so I can start writing some options down there. That's the only place in time that I'm going to be playing Tesla. Now moving into Palantir. Palantir also not looking too bad, 1.55% to the upside. Daily higher lows are most likely set with the recapture of this gorgeous hourly uptrend attempt right here. So looking not too bad, right? Double bottom right there in terms of the hourly. So not really a downtrend right there. Bulls are trying to get it back. A little bit messy, but you guys understand the concept, right? Looking for the daily higher lows. Beautiful daily move higher, looking for the daily higher lows, and now possibly looking to retest this area up here. $32.50 all the way to roughly $33. In the event we cannot get it done and roll this over, understand that we have tons of space on the weekly, guys, looking for weekly higher lows for possible further trend continuation. I am still targeting 29 to about 28. If we pull down there in the foreseeable future, probably going to unlock some premium down here, $27, $26 for some short puts, and maybe even looking for some potential call options. If we do get this breakout retest in motion, guys, maybe looking for some call options with a little bit of time on them. In terms of the monthly is looking very, very healthy as well. Beautiful monthly uptrend. And the most important part, in my opinion, for this chart is we closed the monthly candle through this massive area of resistance that we had, which is highlighted by this yellow, this channel between these two yellow lines. That is very noteworthy for me. So even if we do get a pullback in the month of September, just going to be looking for essentially a monthly higher low as well for possible further trend continuation. We know that Palantir does this sometimes. Big move, monthly consolidation, big move, monthly consolidation. We will see if that is the case for September seasonality as well, but I would be willing to be a buyer down here in the event that does happen. That's pretty much everything for our stock market analysis here, guys. Hopefully you appreciated that. Went through it a bit quickly because I do have to run to a dinner very briefly now. Let's jump into our positions, right? So in terms of the positions here, guys, well, there are some positions that are no longer here anymore, and let me show you which those are, highlighted from our Discord, right? So here are the positions that we took over the course of this week. We had 6 wins, 1 loss, very nice trades on Elf Beauty, slight little loss on AMD. We cut the loss prior to NVIDIA earnings, right? This was a trade leading into NVIDIA earnings. I was expecting a little bit of a rally into NVIDIA earnings. We did not get it, so I kind of de-risked the position before NVIDIA, and we took a tiny little $25 loss on that one. All the other trades were excessively good wins, all of the wheel strategy. We made a slight attempt here on Amazon as well, the 185 calls for September 27. And this one was a very, very funny trade, guys. We pretty much had it. We had it where we wanted to, but the Bears threw us for a little bit of a curveball yesterday afternoon. So we were hunting for the daily higher lows, as we've been talking about on the channel, right? And we were pretty sure we got them right around that 200 daily moving average. So the trade was as follows: hourly confirmed uptrend was there. I waited for this back test right here within this hourly candle of the 173.50 level, and we had a pretty good trade underway with our stops below here. Stands to argue, if you lose your hourly uptrend right after setting it, then maybe you just do not have your daily higher low set and maybe due for a tiny little attempt more to the downside. Well, they took us out, and then pretty much today engulfed us all in one clean shot, right? So unfortunately, we did get taken out, guys. They took out our stop loss and then ran away with our money. That happens all the time. As I was telling people in the Discord, guys, it is completely normal. The moral of the story is that the trade setup and idea were absolutely perfect, right? In terms of the entry, of course, the entry was good and did respect the strategy. It's just sometimes these types of trades do happen here, guys. The most important part is that we're identifying the correct opportunities and playing them accordingly. And if ever it goes below our stop loss, we are getting out of the trade here, guys. That risk management is what will keep you alive, because for every single move that reverses and engulfs and does not respect the TA sometimes, well, there's a lot of times that it can actually just continue dropping, and you'll be glad that you respected your strategy. So once again, it's the strategy that keeps you alive, guys, right? The trade quality and the strategy and the discipline in respecting that. So those are just a few of the trades. Overall, though, guys, nice week of wins once again. And in terms of some other trades that you may not have seen too, we did close some Merck debit spreads right here. So we had these about 2 weeks ago. We got these for about 90 bucks. Close them today for about $135. That is 50% profit in just a short week and a half worth of trading. Very happy with the way that swing trade went. Everything else probably is here. We also had some Pinduoduo short puts. I think I showed them on the channel. If I didn't, we got some Pinduoduo short puts at roughly about, let's call it about, 35 cents. 35, 40 cents right there for after their earnings drop. And that position played out quite nicely right there. In terms of the remainder ones that we do have for the week, I will show you guys. It hasn't really changed that much. We still have the Airbnb bull call debit spreads. We are still assigned on alimentation. As you can see, we've been writing covered calls now for about a week's worth of time. time. Our average cost on them right now is about 78. Well, now it's closer to about 78.50 with the 2 covered calls that I ran. The ones for this week, completely worthless. We pocket the premium, drop our average cost. And these 79 calls for next Friday, the reason I chose to write the 79s $1 lower is just because they're going into earnings, just looking to get a little bit more premium. And now that our cost basis is under 79 anyways, it's not as if we're losing money if it goes back above 79, right? So fairly happy with the premium received, respects our 0.5% rule. Still have the buy due debit call spread. Those are not moving, but we do have some time left on them. CPs, these are moving very, very nicely right now, guys. We are up a very decent amount on this contract right here. Very happy with the way this one is playing out. John Deere is coming back. We've kind of been underwater on this one for a while, but the time is until December. So if value does continue to be the most prevalent trade right now, those should perform well. Still the Disney positions, those are doing okay too. Google, still have this Google wheel trade that I took. We are still rolling covered calls. We rolled covered calls in the yesterday session, as a matter of fact, to the following week. And as you can see, we are already pocketing roughly 50% of that premium. So I'll continue rolling them. Our average cost on Google down from our assigned price at 170. Our average cost on Google right now is about 161.40. So we're well above. Even if we get called away at 165 here, guys, we are well above our actual break even right there. So we're profitable in that position. Everything else is largely the same. Intel, these leap calls perform very well today. Intuit, right? You guys have seen this position already. That one is moving very nice. In terms of Lulu, we went with the earnings play on Lulu. These are bear call credit spreads. So we're looking for the stock not to move above these strikes right here, the 305, 310. This was a 2 standard deviation move. The logic behind this Lulu trade was very, very simple. I went 15% above the current stock price. Even in Lulu's best quarters over the last 4 or 5 years, they have never had any earnings, even the best earnings that they've released, that have gone over 15% in one single day. So it stands to argue in an environment where consumer discretionary spending is not the best, and we may be expecting some lowered guidance by Lulu, well, they're probably not going to have a plus 15% day unless something absolutely crazy happens, right? So we went with the logical higher probability trade, and it played out. We made about $40 in just one single day of trading. 0.4 divided by our allocated capital was about 8%, right? So looking very, very, very healthy on that one. Right, so looking very good. We got $40 for $500 worth of risk. So that's about 8%. Fantastic ROI, if you ask me, for that one. Then we still have these Merck contracts. We closed the call debit spreads, but we'll keep the shares up until the 120. This was such an easy swing trade that I gave to everybody on the channel as well, roughly about 2 weeks ago. Still the Microsoft. These Microsoft bull call debit spreads unfortunately ended worthless. I mean, I assume I could have closed them for half a profit, throughout the time. We've had this one for about, let's just call it about a month and a half at this point. So you win some, you lose some on Microsoft, right? That's my first loss on a Microsoft call debit spread in quite some time. We took them pretty much all the way back here, guys, right? When Microsoft was down here, we went with some call debit spreads, and then we got hit with the unfortunate unraveling of the big tech trade as a whole, and it was never really able to muster up the power to get back up there. I mean, I could have closed it over here for roughly a 60-75% loss. I figured, you know what, let's just see and let it ride, and unfortunately it did not ride for us. So that's just the luck of the draw sometimes. So we lose $226 right there, but that is completely fine here, guys. We're gonna be able to make that back. And if you remember, right, this is probably the third, fourth, or fifth iteration of the Microsoft bull call credit spread this year, and they've usually all performed very, very well. So if anything, we're just giving back a little bit of those profits, right? I have to take a loss once in a while. On the NVIDIA ones, we took these ones for earnings. These are underwater right now. We'll give it some time. These are for September 27th. They were an earnings play, and unfortunately, the stock went down. So we'll see what they can do. If they can rally back to the 130s, something like that, we'll probably be able to close these for some profit. OXY still have those. Pinduoduos as well. Earnings trade, or post-earnings trade, rather, after the big drop. We put some time on them. These are for November. 105 versus the 110s. We'll see how those go. These Pinduoduo was a pure lottery play on these call options right here. After earnings as well, when the stock was trading around $98, $97, we went with a $120 call, just looking for a little bit of price appreciation, and it kind of just slid thereafter. Pure lottery play here, guys. I was willing to lose all of this money, and we did. Qualys debit spread moving okay right now. And we also have two UPS debit spreads, one for October and one for November. Pretty confident in those. And our Visa shares are nicely performing too. So that's pretty much everything in terms of our portfolio rundown, guys. hopefully you appreciated that. And if you do want any of my trades in real time, guys, and crush the markets with us in our private Discord, always remember the link is down below in the description for all of those live trade alerts. And obviously we have private live streams where I go through all the trade setups every single morning, Monday through Friday, exclusive content as well, and just be part of a community and chat with me, ask me any questions you want all day, every single day, pretty much, right? So the link's down there in the description. And if not, guys, always feel free to like the video. If you appreciate this type of content, lets me know that you do. Consider subscribing to the channel. If you're new, would love to have you here, guys. We do these every Monday through Friday after the close. And as usual, if you have any questions at all, always feel free to leave them down below in the comments. Anything on strategy and options play you want a second opinion on, pretty much everything, right? I'm open. I'll give you guys the best answer I can without giving you direct financial advice, of course. So take care. Have a beautiful weekend. I'll see you this weekend for 2 videos, subscriber request tomorrow on Saturday, and of course, the top 5 options play on these, actually top 5 options on the Monday session, because Monday is a holiday. Tuesday is the market open. Take care, guys. Love you all as usual, and peace.